Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. A new law has been put into place. It has been signed by the president and is now law, increasing VA pay substantially. Now, this is only going to impact a small group of individuals, but the whole point here is that, look, some veterans are getting this. There's other legislation out for more veterans to get other increases. There's still the Major Richard Starr Act that we're pushing on. And if and when all of these things go into effect, which, by the way, this one did, there's more chance for all of VA disability compensation to increase, right? It's piece by piece, not one foul swoop. And they're going to pick the smaller ones, the smaller constituencies of veteranhood, if you will, and work on those, right? And you could argue some of the more deserving things get more attention, right? So the Sherry Briley and Eric Edmondson Expansion Act, focusing on catastrophic injured veterans. Okay, that's you should. The Major Richard Starr Act, you should. And this one. So this one's already in effect and are already signed into law. I'm going to share this with you, jump through it here real quick, share a little information directly from Senator Cruz's I think it's his website. Yeah. His Senate website on this as well. Now, this increase jumps from a monthly basis from $1,406 to $5,625. So $1,406 is what it used to be, $1,400 going to $5,600, $5,625. Big, gigantic jump. So before we jump into it, thank you so much to Janice Fictum. Janice Fictum, thank you so much for your continued support. I truly appreciate it very much. Thank you for that super comment, super chat thing. I really, really do appreciate that support. All right, so jumping into it here. This is called the new Medal of Honor, or it's called the Medal of Honor Act. And this new Medal of Honor pension rate that's associated with the act changes the amount that a recipient of the Medal of Honor would receive. And again, from the amounts that I told you, right? So 1,400-ish to over 5,600. You could buy a house with that. I mean, this is a gigantic jump and good. I'm glad that it's happening. Stick with me. Don't leave, because even though we think, well, it doesn't impact me, I don't care. No, it impacts you. It impacts all of us, because the more veteran benefits that get increased, the more that the ones at the bottom need to be increased as well, because the deficit becomes too large to make sense. So as we see things like the Medal of Honor pension rate increase, we see legislation obviously out there for the Major Richard Starr Act. We see legislation for the Expansion Act. These are other things that are calling for increases in the amount of compensation paid to veterans. Now, this here is the Medal of Honor pension rate. It's not disability compensation, but it is pay from the VA nonetheless. So what I'm going to do here, this just got signed into law December 1st, 2025. I'm going to share a press release that came out last month, November, from Ted Cruz. It says the Senate unanimously passes the Senator Cruz legislation increasing pension for Medal of Honor recipients. Will now become law. So now it is law, right? It's signed into law. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, spoke on the Senate floor in favor of the House-passed version of the Monetary Enhancement for Distinguished Active Legends, the Medal Act, legislation that he drafted, after which the Senate unanimously passed the bill. The act had previously been passed unanimously by the House of Representatives and will now go to the president for his signature to become law, which that happened yesterday. This legislation will increase the monthly pension for living Medal of Honor recipients to $67,500 annually. Gigantic. And look, I think that when it comes to VA benefits, right? Medal of Honor recipients, which there's just a handful. Look, they deserve it. They they deserve it. They did the right thing in the worst time, right? So being able to pull yourself up in the worst of the worst situations, let your instincts kick in, and run toward the fire, typically, is a great thing, and it should be recognized and rewarded. Really, rewarding that behavior. Now, I get it. At the end of the day, look, we all signed the same dotted line. We all served our country, and we all got sent wherever we got sent. You got zero say, typically, unless you're volunteering to be, deployed somewhere. Typically, it doesn't happen that often. You either do or you don't. Sometimes people are in circumstances and situations in which they need to act. And thankfully, these people acted in the way that they did and got recognized with the Medal of Honor. So I appreciate them. What I don't appreciate is anybody, veteran or not, who talks down on anybody else receiving disability compensation for that's legally, it's a legal right to receive our benefits. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's pretty much as far as I'm going to go on that topic. So one of the things that is recognized here, and I wanted to share this because this piece is important, okay? It says that there's a section here that I wanted to share, and it says the legislation purpose, okay? The purpose, this legislation aims to increase the financial security of Medal of Honor recipients, and it's the first congressional pension increase since 2002. So a non-COLA type of an increase, right? So this is good news because there's recognition that our benefits as a whole, well, they haven't been really adjusted, right? Other than COLA, they haven't really had any other sort of increase since or for decades. So this is also called out in the Sherry Briley and Eric Edmondson Expansion Act that it's been decades since there's been any sort of meaningful increase other than COLA adjustments. So that's also, I think it's just important to recognize that this is the language that we want to see. These are the things that we want to see happening. So this legislation, again, increases the Medal of Honor recipients to $67,500. There's some additional comments on his page here. It's just kind of like some going back and forths, but we already know that it's signed into law. There is a little background piece here that I'll read to you on this, just so we can kind of get a little bit of flavor on the why, I guess, if they give that to us here. So the legislation was introduced in the House by Representative Troy Niels. The Medal of Honor is the highest military decoration bestowed by the United States. There are only 61 living Medal of Honor recipients. Medal of Honor recipients are often not retired from the U.S. military. Okay, 4 years in, 6 years in, did the right thing, got out. Medal of Honor recipients are often not retired from the U.S. military and often receive no compensation for the costs of their public engagements. So speaking events, that type of stuff, is a Medal of Honor recipient. Through these appearances, they share stories of heroism that inspire Americans, strengthen national pride, and support military recruiting and retention. Increasing their monthly pensions is essential to easing the financial burden on their families and ensuring they can continue representing the best of our nation's values. So that's kind of the background to it. And I, look, you could take that. Obviously, it's magnified at the Medal of Honor recipient level, and those amazing stories. So it's magnified at the Medal of Honor recipient level. And then there's veterans, right? Veterans in general that have done more than our civilian counterparts when it comes to serving our country and defending it in whatever way we need to. Being there, being trained, all of that type of stuff, going wherever they tell you to go, going on whatever deployments, whether it's to combat or just a deployment somewhere else. It's all part of it. And I say all that because we have our disability compensation benefits that are out there for us. And the key word there is benefits. It's not disability. It's not compensation. It's none of that. It's benefits. That is the key word. It's part of our benefits package, and we need to continue to treat it as such. So with that, I'm glad that this happened. Should happen. There's 61 of them still living today, and I think that this is an important move, and hopefully the beginning of a continual increase to different aspects of VA benefits, and subsequently leading to disability compensation in general being increased, other than COLA. With that, thanks for watching. I appreciate you very much. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.